Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is the 6th Harry Potter movie. We are chugging right along with these Harry Potter reviews leading up to Fantastic Beasts 3, even though I'm not really looking forward to Fantastic Beasts 3 all that much. Half-Blood Prince takes place in Harry, Ron, and Hermione's 6th year at Hogwarts, in which Harry must help Dumbledore acquire vital information about Voldemort and how to defeat Voldemort. So in order to do so, they recruit an old Hogwarts professor named Horace Slughorn, who used to be the potions master, and Slughorn developed quite a bond with Tom Riddle back when Tom Riddle was at Hogwarts, and now Dumbledore needs Slughorn's memory to acquire that information that he is seeking so that he and Harry can team up to potentially defeat Dark Lord and avoid the Wizarding War that is coming. I've always loved the opening scene of Half-Blood Prince. How in the book we hear about a bridge attack and then we actually see that bridge attack in the movie. I love that sequence because now it is just like, it is full-blown war against muggles. Voldemort wants nothing to do with muggles. He wants to wipe them off the face of the earth. It's going to be pure-blooded wizards and nothing else. The tension is immediately infused into this movie, and there is no Dursleys again in this movie, so we pick up with Harry still trying to get a date. Yeah, real bummer if you're a 16-year-old. And Dumbledore spoils it. So not only is he the worst hiring manager in history, he's also the worst wingman in history. Good job, Albus. The movie as a whole, I really like Half-Blood Prince, but I understand where some of the complaints come in. Because Half-Blood Prince is definitely one of the most, if not the most, uneventful Harry Potter film. But I also am on the other side of that argument, because the people that say it's uneventful say it's just information. Not much happens. But at the same time, that information is important. It's vital. You have to have it in order for the story to progress, to move the story to where we're going to go in Deathly Hallows. So yeah, it's a bit uneventful, but it is important, and the information that we get is actually really interesting. Dumbledore has to bring back Horace Slughorn so we can tap into his memories and find these memories of Tom Riddle and how Tom Riddle can be defeated. But there's a memory that is incomplete, so he tasks Harry with getting to know Slughorn in a similar manner that Tom Riddle got to know Slughorn. So I like the tension between Harry and Slughorn towards the second half of the movie. Slughorn's just like, get the hell away from me because you're giving me Voldemort vibes here. I didn't like that kid. Now you're doing the same thing. And, I mean, Harry's kind of creepy about it. As we see in the memory, Tom Riddle's like, I'm admiring your hourglass, sir. And then Harry's like, I'm admiring your hourglass, sir. So yeah, of course Slughorn's gonna be like, yeah, that's a signal for caution because I remember somebody else who said that. So yeah, nice job, Harry. There are also scenes in this movie that were not present in the book. For instance, the Burrow attack. I've never seen anybody really like this scene. I don't understand why. I'm going to defend the scene because it's laid out plain and simple in the movie. I feel like as if there are some book purists that need everything from the book to be in the movie, and it's just not possible. Order of the Phoenix proved that. And these movies have proved that you can add scenes that weren't in the book to better enhance the world and the story for the better. I mean, this had to get the approval of J.K. Rowling, right? And the impact that this scene has, the Burrow attack, is that, yeah, no matter where Harry goes, despite him being the chosen one, the one that will defeat Lord Voldemort, nowhere he goes is going to be safe. And Hermione even addresses this. She says you have to realize who you are. You can't just go around to anywhere and expect to be safe. So Harry can be a little reckless in this movie, and he's also tempted by this new book that he has discovered that is the property of the Half-Blood Prince. Whoever the Half-Blood Prince is, the Sectum Sempra scene, one of my favorite scenes, which I wasn't sure if they were actually going to include in the movie. I thought that that was going to be an omission.
I know what you did, Malfoy. You hexed her, didn't you?
Once I had heard that this movie was going to be PG, like the first three movies, and unlike Goblet of Fire and Order of the Phoenix, which were PG-13, I said to myself, there's no way they can include the Sectum Sempra scene in here, but the little mini duel between Harry and Draco is actually really good, and the way that they incorporate Sectum Sempra into the movie was actually really smart, and I wasn't expecting there to be a giant pool of blood under Draco's body in a PG movie. Jesus. That's a horrifying sight for kids. Somebody just got slashed up by a spell and now their insides are just bleeding out. I've always loved the role that Snape plays in this movie, and I love the role that Dumbledore plays in this movie. Let's talk about Dumbledore first, because this is where I feel like Michael Gambon has finally, 4 movies in to his tenure as Dumbledore, has settled into the role. This is the Dumbledore I expected him to play. Still a stern Dumbledore, but he has more of a calming presence than he did in the previous 3 movies. Not the calming presence that Richard Harris had in Sorcerer's Stone or Chamber of Secrets, but the calming presence that we would expect from an actor replacing Richard Harris as Dumbledore would have. And finally, Michael Gambon captured the personality of Dumbledore from the book. Finally, Michael Gambon was so good as Dumbledore in this movie. There was even buzz after this movie released that he could get a potential Oscar nomination. Same goes for Alan Rickman as Snape. Both play integral roles in this movie, and when it comes to Snape, he, spoiler alert, kills Dumbledore. Both Michael Gambon and Alan Rickman are so good in this movie that every time Snape and Dumbledore are on screen, you are immediately glued to the screen. I've always loved Snape's role in this movie, how he's essentially playing both sides, where he's playing that Hogwarts professor who has a lot of trust in Dumbledore, and Dumbledore has a lot of trust in him, yet he's also playing the role of, hey, I'm going to help Draco embrace his darker side and help him get closer to the Dark Lord and become a Death Eater. So you have that whole thing with Snape as well. You also have the fact that Snape is the Half-Blood Prince. It's never explained in the movie as to why he's the Half-Blood Prince. The book explains that he was a half-blood and his mother's maiden name was Prince. I think that's the explanation. I haven't read the Half-Blood Prince book in a long time, so I'm 100% sure that's the explanation. If it is not, correct me in the comments, please. But that's what I remember, that he was a half-blood and his mother's maiden name was Prince, so he called himself the Half-Blood Prince and he created the spell Sectum Sempra. The movie doesn't explain this. It's a small issue. It's nothing like omitting who the Marauders are and why the Whomping Willow and the Shrieking Shack is important in The Prisoner of Azkaban. I mean, this is, yeah, sure, this is an explanation that could have taken probably no more than 20 seconds. Because once he says, I am the Half-Blood Prince, Snape just walks off. He could have just been like, I am the Half-Blood Prince because my mother's name was Prince and I was a half-blood and therefore I am the Half-Blood Prince. See, I can't do a good Snape, so it is a problem that I do have with the movie, but it is only a minor issue. It is nothing to the extent what they did with Prisoner of Azkaban and what they omitted from that movie, because that is just unforgivable. This I can overlook to an extent, but I do think if the movie is called Half-Blood Prince, you still do need an explanation. It's not something that's going to change the universe or affect the story outcome in Deathly Hallows, you know, but it is something that has slightly bothered me, but a problem that I have also accepted as a flaw that will never be fixed, and I am okay with that flaw being in the movie. You could also look at Half-Blood Prince as, in a way, a rom-com. There's a lot of great humor in here that focuses a lot on teenage romance, and just like Goblet of Fire, Half-Blood Prince plays it up for comedy, as it should, and a lot of it's hilarious. I don't know, between the two, despite how dark Goblet of Fire gets, between the two movies, I'm not 100% sure which one I think actually has the better comedy. I think Goblet of Fire might have the better comedy, but I think that there's more laughs in Half-Blood Prince, if that makes sense. Like, there's more instances of comedy in Half-Blood Prince. The entire sequence where Ron has taken a love potion that was meant for Harry. Hilarious as shit. Harry acting like he's stoned or something when he's on liquid luck.
Well, how do you feel?
Excellent. Really excellent.
Remember, Slughorn usually eats early, takes a walk, and then returns to his office.
Right. I'm going down to Hagrid's.
What? No, Harry, you've got to go and speak to Slughorn. We have a plan.
I know, but I've got a really good feeling about Hagrid's. I feel it's the place to be tonight. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Well, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Or Felix does. Hi.
One of the most hilarious things Harry has ever done as a character, and by far one of Daniel Radcliffe's better performances in the entire series. I really love the Felix Felicis scene. And luckily, Quidditch makes its grand return, although it's not a full match. But we at least get to see some Quidditch action, and hey, even if we don't get a full match, we at least get to see Gryffindor practicing with Quidditch. So we get a couple of Quidditch scenes, and that was awesome. It was awesome seeing Ron on the Quidditch team too. That was probably something that should have happened in Order of the Phoenix, but it's here, and it's not really explained as to how Ron got on the Quidditch team, but it's fun. It's cool seeing him and Harry on the Quidditch team together. I think you needed to have Quidditch for a movie that isn't as eventful as the other films. I think because it does have a slower pace, you need to break up the film with some of these sequences. Like the opening that I mentioned, the attack on Millennium Bridge with the Muggles, or Bellatrix Lestrange's attack on the Burrow. Those are scenes that break up some of the slower moments, but don't mess with the pacing of the movie. Quidditch is smack dab right in the middle of that. It breaks up some of the slower paced moments of the film, and I think that is a big strength that this movie has that a lot of people don't think about. I really enjoy Half-Blood Prince. Yeah, sure, the explanation for Half-Blood Prince is non-existent and does slightly bother me, and it is in a way an uneventful movie, but it is an important movie. It is a pivotal movie, and there is a lot of things in this movie, despite how uneventful it may seem, that I really, really do like. It also got an Oscar nomination for cinematography. The cinematography in this movie is fucking amazing. Probably the best looking Harry Potter film, I think, to date. I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince an A-. An underrated Harry Potter film for sure, and I think a lot of people dislike this one because it is uneventful and it feels slower to them, and it also just adds in scenes that were in the book, and I think some of those book purists weren't too happy about that, or didn't really understand the necessity of adding those sequences into the movie to better enhance the world and the story itself. So stay tuned very soon for my review of Deathly Hallows Part 1. We are closing up shop on these Harry Potter reviews soon. Man, damn it, I love talking about them though. Stay tuned very soon. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.